Good afternoon, everybody. It's Pastor Ira Ackery, and I'm here today as your host of the All Hands on Deck telecast. Bring you greetings from the GSJ Family Life Center. We really are excited to have you join us. You can call us at any time at 773-378-3300. 773-378-3300. We're excited to have you here, and we are excited to have our guests in the studio on today. We're going to be talking about a subject that is very interesting, and we'd love to hear your insight. We'd love to hear your perspective. We'd love to hear your voice. We need everybody and every person to be committed to leveling the educational and economic playing field for everybody. We need all hands on deck. Today we're going to be talking with a young activist in our city. I've been watching him work. He has even come from the south side to the west side over in the Austin community, and he has been a part of our ministry, and he has participated in some great work we have done trying to make a difference in our city. Welcome to All Hands on Deck, Minister Darius Randall.
Thank you, Pastor, for having me.
Darius, tell us a little bit about your organization and the church that you are affiliated with.
I am Reverend Darius Randall. I am the young adult pastor out in Resurrection House Baptist Church in Dalton on Chicago's south side. And I've been there about 5 years now, and we're celebrating this weekend 8 years as a church. Our 8-year anniversary is coming up. Got some powerhouse preachers coming to be with us.
All right. Well, listen, the theme today is we're going to talk about Chicago. Chicago is a world-class city, you know, and I love Chicago. I grew up in Chicago. I went to high school and college and grad school right here in Chicago. I pastored in Chicago. I've been a civil rights leader in Chicago, but truly enough, when you hear people say it's a tale of two cities, unfortunately, we have come to that point. What's your take on that?
Well, when we look at the tale of two cities, I'm reminded when Dr. King came to Chicago, and when he said that Chicago was the most violent place he's ever been among all the places in the civil rights movement. And it was big, and it's amazing from the 60s on to now, we're still seeing some of the same issues that Dr. King, when he came to Chicago, that we're still plagued with. We're still plagued with, triple amounts of gun violence. We're still plagued with poverty. We're still plagued with, segregation of different, houses and different economic situations. So, that tale of two cities is real big, and we have to really truly deal with these issues with the next mayoral elections and the congressional elections, and the churches. So we got a whole lot of work to do.
Listen, many times because of our love for this city, many times we really don't want to admit the trauma that we face every day. But listen, I have a wife, I have a daughter, I have a mother, and I have a grandbaby that lives in this city. And I tell you what, I don't want my wife out at night. There was a time it didn't bother me, but fear is at an all-time high. I'm so glad. I used to didn't want to admit this, being a civil rights leader in this city, but I'm so glad that my daughter lives in Atlanta. People may say, well, it's dangerous in Atlanta, but Chicago is the epicenter of violence. We have more homicides here than Los Angeles and New York combined. And, already we have a caller, but let me just at least say this. I was teaching, or rather speaking, last week at North Park, my old alma mater. And when I was walking in North Park, I had no thoughts of looking over my shoulder. Economic boom, beautiful housing, streets are clean, no fear at all. And that's in someone else's neighborhood. But when I got back to our neighborhood, unfortunately, you got to look over your shoulder, and there's a level of fear and apprehension in the air because these are real people who've been getting gunned down.
Yes.
Welcome to the show. We have a caller. You're welcome to speak and give us your comment or question here on All Hands on Deck. We're talking about a tale of two cities.
Absolutely. I want to commend the two gentlemen that are obviously the host, Reverend Ira Ackery, and I want to commend his guest today, Reverend Darius Randall. This is Anthony Beckham, and I just want to commend you guys for the work that you're doing. Hey, guys.
Thank you.
The work that you all have been doing and continue to do in the community.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you so much, sir. Brother Anthony Beckham. He is from the 1st District Commissioner Richard Boykin's office, and he's just commending the work of my host, my guest rather, and myself. Thank you, Brother Beckham. Any other callers, feel free to call in. And let me just also say Beckham and Commissioner Boykin, they are working extremely hard to make a difference. And they have pulled together some resources. And at our church on the west side of Chicago from 9 a.m. to 12 a.m., there is a workforce development institute that takes place.
Praise God.
Job leads are given, help with preparing to be job ready. It's available. And you also have resume assistance, interview coaching, all of that takes place at Greater St. John.
That's phenomenal.
Thank you. This is a way that we can give people hope again by not giving them a handout, but giving them a hand up.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. Let me just ask you a question. How did Chicago become the epicenter of violence in America?
Well, I believe that for generations and generations, we've let this problem get completely out of control. And we got a lot of unresolved issues. And a lot of the issues that were from the 80s and from the 70s and 60s are being passed down to my generation.
Unresolved issues? What kind of
unresolved issues? Like we have, drugs in, guns in, liquor stores in, schools closing. We have, houses and areas, being foreclosed. We have families still facing
So
poverty.
I want you to be a little bit more specific. So you're right now, unresolved issues. You're talking about poor housing.
Yes, sir.
Closed schools.
Yes, sir.
And you're talking about drugs coming in.
Yes, sir.
And jobs going out.
Yes, and not only drugs and guns.
That's a formula
for
violence.
Yes, sir. And then not only the drugs and the liquor stores, we got over infiltration of guns into our community, and we're seeing articles all over the papers discussing how the railroads are being broken into. We need to be suing the railroads if the railroads is not gonna secure their property and make sure that something as dangerous as guns are not being broken into the rail car. There should be more security, and and it's amazing how if that was traveling through another community that was not African American, I believe that they will have more security and they would pay more attention, making sure that those guns don't get into that community.
Well, let me ask you this. I want to deal with something else here. I want to ask you some specific things about police presence. Are you an advocate that increasing the police presence will help?
I think that's one of the components.
You really do?
Yes.
Now, that's what I want to say. I've heard different people like yourself advocate about the strained police and community relations. So if the police and community relations is strained, how is adding more people where there's a strained relations going to help? Let me just hear your perspective on that.
We have a lot of bad apples in the police department, and they, always saying bad apple spoils the bunch. So I believe it's time that we, start to get these bad apples off the force and bring in some good guys from the community. That's from, a lot of the circles that we run in, a lot of the work that we're doing. There should be guys applying for the police department. I've applied myself, and I'm taking a test for the police department.
All right.
That's just showing like my commitment to being about what I'm speaking about.
So are you excited about President Trump potentially sending in a greater police presence?
I believe President Trump...
He's talking about federal police coming in.
Yes.
You with the deal?
I believe President Trump, before he does anything related to Chicago's gun violence, he should make a visit here. He should visit here and meet with the leaders, meet with those who have been on the front line working like yourself and other pastors and activists. And he shouldn't come here to speak.
Now I understand all that. I understand all that. But when he come here and he says to you, if he does come and he said, "Listen, I want to bring more police in, some feds," what are you gonna say?
Well,
you just said that you wanted police because there's just a few bad apples, but you said more police is good.
On the Chicago Police Department, I believe that we need to definitely change, the structure and change the manpower there. But Trump is talking about the federal agents and the federal government. Now, on the flip side, I do see there's a problem with infiltration of guns. So the ATF will serve and will help in these investigations and ensuring that these illegal gun runners are investigated and turned in, and all these guns that's in Chicago. We don't own a gun shop in Chicago city limits. We don't have a gun manufacturer in Chicago city limits.
Right.
So that's strange that all these young people is getting access to these guns. That's definitely a call for the federal government to look into that.
Let me ask you a question. As community leaders, are we shooting ourselves in the foot when we fight the police chief's suggestion that we need stricter laws for repeat offenders with illegal guns? I mean, because he's saying, and not only did he say it, but McCarthy said it, and Rahm is saying that we need the legislators in Illinois to penalize these guys who are repeated illegal gun holders.
I agree that we should definitely penalize those who are.
So you want the penalties to be stricter?
Absolutely.
Now in our neighborhood, we've been saying we didn't want it any stricter.
Yes.
Now, so is the community divided with that?
The community definitely is divided with that because I believe a lot of people don't even have a real knowledge of what criminal justice looks like. I'm a criminal justice major as well.
Sure.
So I have this understanding and expertise on the issue of the matter, and I realize that the laws could definitely be stricter, but I also am a realist and I've been out there in my activism and I've seen front hand that yes, we need to make the laws stricter, but we can't forget about the poverty, we can't forget about the joblessness, we can't forget about the hopelessness that's out there among many of these young people that don't even want to live.
If you're watching, you can call in with your questions. Some are asking on Facebook Live. What's the number? It's 312-738-1060. 312-738-1060. I'm really interested in what people are saying out there because I know many of the community leaders are thumbs down on the stricter penalties for these people who are repeat offenders with illegal guns. Why? Let me ask you that. Why? Because you were against it at first earlier, weren't you? And you changed. What made you change your mind?
Well, I look at it as we have to do something about this issue where these 2-year-olds.
We're in a crisis, right?
Yeah, we're in a serious crisis.
Gotta do something.
Look at this past week. We didn't had about
we can keep on pampering these criminals.
Yes.
And our babies are going to continue to get
our
gunned
babies
down.
Keep Go ahead. So we got to do something to protect our children. Because we can't keep losing 2-year-olds and 12-year-olds and 11-year-olds, all of them being shot fatally in the head or being shot. It is terrible that we are just allowing this to happen, and we're not, putting on, the pressure. And
I'm at wit's end. I'm just so frustrated. I could just blow my top. As I said, I went over on the north side in North Park, and I was able to walk down the street and eat me some potato chips and have on my headphones and not worry about nothing in the world. But that's over. We talk about racism is in Chicago, but in their neighborhood, I'm comfortable. In their neighborhood, I'm safe. But when I get around Ray and Pookie, now I got to worry about getting shot.
Right.
My wife can't go to the store at night unless she's being accompanied by me. And she ain't really safe when she with me.
Yeah, and we have to change this narrative, Pastor. If we're gonna, see anything resolved, I am really truly looking forward to these next elections coming up, not just for aldermen, and for mayor. And while I'm on the alderman, they always, the media always question the Superintendent Johnson on everything. Every time there's an issue of violence. But why aren't the media questioning these aldermen? Because this is where all the violence is happening. The violence is happening in their wards. So you're telling me that these aldermen have no opinion about what's going on in their wards? What's happening with these?
Let me get back to this point here, because how can we change this narrative in Chicago? If someone is watching right now and wants to know what they could do to help, what they can personally do, we know we got to hold the aldermen and the mayor and the governor's feet to the fire. If somebody's looking today, what can they do to help end this violence crisis? What can individuals do?
Individuals have to take accountability for their block, take accountability for their children and their household.
Sure.
Because definitely, I agree with that notion that it starts at home. Yes, but I always have a rebuttal for that. It depends on the homes that we're speaking of.
Because kids don't choose their parents, do they?
No.
Absolutely.
Kids don't choose their parents because you have a mother, like Dr. Carl Bell once said, that we have different functions of illiteracy and ignorance, and if you passing these down generation and generation, what are the children are going to become? The children become what their parents are. The children become what they see. So we have to, as the parents definitely have to do a better job in raising their children.
All right. So your comments would be get involved, mentoring.
Yes.
Parenting.
And
block by block.
Block by block. And we need a lot of different people.
Join a civil rights organization.
Join a civil rights organization. We got a whole bunch of activists. That's one thing. We got so many activists.
Sure.
But the activists need to start running for office. The activists
all right.
need to start getting involved and registering voters. Don't just be an activist.
Sure. We got one more caller. Caller, welcome to the show. Caller, speak up. Welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing there, Pastor Ackery?
I'm doing well.
New Mount Pilgrim.
All right, my brother, speak up and let me hear your comment.
Well, I was just calling because one of the things is that I don't definitely think we don't need any feds or military in the city, because once they leave, you're gonna have chaos. What I really think that we need is that we need more economic development in the under-resourced communities like Inglewood and Roseland and Austin and all of those areas. And then I don't think we need to change the gun law, because same gun laws work well in Oak Park and River Forest and Forest Park. And so
okay. Well, we're gonna we can basically not really hear you in the studio, but I'm gonna go ahead and deal with his comments. Did you hear him pretty well?
I heard
he basically said he's not with changing the gun laws.
Yes.
That's Minister Warren Riley. He said that works all right in Oak Park and Barrington, but we don't need gun laws changed. But he said the real answer is economic development.
Definitely. But there's also different. You want to take the other caller?
Make your comment. I'll take care of
that. There's also different parameters around this issue.
Sure.
And I'm sure the community, which they should speak up. The pastors and activists should definitely speak up on this, and it should be one of our to-do lists that we should call community meetings around these gun law issues.
Caller, speak up and let me hear your comment real quick. We got a lot of callers waiting.
Oh, hello?
Hello. Welcome to the show.
Yes. Fine. I just want to say, if you want to get this,
you got to turn your television off and make your comment because it's on a delay.
Okay, I get it. I got it. Oh, what I want to say, number one, my solution, my thought is, number one, equalizer on your hip. Eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Start cutting up some of these other folks that are organizing these folks to do this shit so they can get your land. I know what I'm talking about. Equalizer on your hip, brother. That's it. That's the only solution to this thing. Praying ain't going to do it. Marching and crying, all that ain't going to hit it, baby. You got to hit the real thing. Nip it in the bud.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. She's for eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. So God bless you. Thank you for calling in. She said prayer has its limitations, and I believe that we can agree to disagree on that one. All right, we got callers. Keep them coming. Keep them coming.
Yes. Hello.
Welcome to the show, caller.
Can you hear me?
I cannot.
Can you hear me?
Speak up. Now, make your comment real quick.
What I'm saying, we need to bring all of the sides together, east side, west side, north side. We need to be one on a board.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for calling in. That caller said we need to bring all the sides together. East side, north side, south side, west side. That would be good if the north side would want to be bothered with us.
And I believe, I was just born when Harold Washington was assassinated. I believe, I don't think that he just had a stroke and heart attack and died. I believe he was assassinated. But I believe that's how he won, mayor. He won all of the wards, I believe, and he won all of the sides of the city. Had a stake in his election. So definitely, I believe that we should definitely organize all sides of the city, because in order to beat this mayor, in order to beat these guys in office, we definitely need to be organized.
We've got to unify those of us who are part of the African American community. We have to unify. There's so much division and divisiveness that exists among us, even among our ranks as activists. It seems like there's a great degree of tension among young activists and us older activists, and there's so much resentment. Would you like to address that?
I've been trying to close these ranks for a while now.
And you have. I give you credit for that.
And it's not easy, because you're dealing with so many different egos and personalities.
Sure.
But we have to, understand, us millennial activists, I said that we have to inherit the faith of the elders.
Absolutely.
We have to inherit the faith of the elders and learn the stories,
But
learn
there's
the history.
so much resentment
Yes.
for authority.
Yes.
They hate everybody.
Oh, yes.
Pastors.
Oh, yes.
Politicians.
Oh, yes.
Police officers.
Oh, yes.
Business leaders.
Oh, yes.
There's so much resentment.
Oh, yes.
And mind you, they have a right to be disappointed with some of the decisions that have been made, but we have embraced all the principles of white supremacy, and we just literally hate ourselves.
That's terrible. That's
And
terrible.
we will never get anywhere until we learn how to empower and trust each other.
Yes. We have to empower and trust each other, because when you look at what's gonna, have to take place, I know people like to always listen to everything that Mr. Farrakhan says, but he quoted Elijah Muhammad. He says, "Our unity is more powerful than an atomic bomb." And he was comparing how America goes after all of the nations with the atomic bombs, with nuclear weapons. But our unity is even more powerful than a nuclear weapon. A nuclear weapon can take out the entire half of the planet. But if we come together.
738-1060. 312-738-1060. You're welcome to call in for our final call. If Donald Trump was listening tonight, what would be your message to him?
My message to Donald Trump is, we need you to do more than just visit our museums, because we need you to visit our communities and listen to those that's on the front line and those that's involved. We will tell you what we need. Okay. You don't tell us what we need.
And he's been so quick to jump on other stuff, but he's slow about addressing the violence here in Chicago. He just wants to give rhetoric, it seems.
Shoot from the hip and tweets. He shoots on the hips and tweets, but all we see really from Trump is talking. And James Brown said, "You're talking loud, but you're saying nothing."
Here's the deal. We really need help here in Chicago. And the truth of the matter is, if 800 people, because 800 homicides took place in 2016, roughly.
Yes.
If we lost 800 people in Afghanistan, overseas, we would end that war.
Oh, yes.
We would get our troops and we would come home.
Oh, yes.
We would come home. It's a crisis here, and any responsible leader who says that everything is okay cannot be taken serious. They are either in denial or they're being completely, totally disingenuous. Yes, they are. So it's been a very engaging conversation.
Yes.
And you've shared some of your wisdom.
Thank you.
What's new for you? What do you plan on doing from here?
Well, we got to organize. That's what I'm focusing on this year.
Okay.
Organizing and really pushing. You know, I started a few years ago my revivals against gun violence.
All right.
I want to bring them all over the city, including to your church. You know.
Good enough. Well, listen, I want to thank you so much, Minister Darius Randall. I want to thank you guys for watching. It's been a blast. I'm high and happy, elephantly excited, and dolphin delighted that we are committed to having one Chicago. Right now, it's a tale of two cities. We'll talk about this again another time. God bless you. Thank you for watching.